1 previous module. Dashboard, My Courses, Start Course. SGE StarGuard Program Guideline. Section 1 of 2 How to use these guidelines. The program guidelines in the StarGuard Instructor Manual, and presented in this module, provide general direction for teaching StarGuard and related courses through your training center. As an instructor, you should be familiar with this guidance. You should also know where to obtain other best practice documents that may be relevant in your situation. Instructor Resource Center, housed on the SGE Lifeguard portal. This password-protected area has downloadable resources, including the documents below: SGE Training Center Administrative Manual, SGE TCAM, Standards and Guidelines for Operating as an SGE Training Center Authorized to Deliver SGE Courses, ASHI Training Center Administrative Manual, TCAM, Standards and Guidelines for Operating as an ASHI Training Center and Delivering Emergency Care Courses outside of the StarGuard Curriculum Client Handbook. Client support information and best practices for facility operations. Contact your client partner if you need assistance in getting these documents. Top of page. Skip to lesson. SGE IDC Pre-Course, StarGuard Program Guidelines 100% complete. Section 1, How to use these guidelines. Section 2 of 2 Guidelines AZ. This section includes best practice guidelines as well as definitions and information related to teaching the StarGuard program. Topics are presented in alphabetical order. Click the plus next to each topic to learn more. Before the course, when feasible, distribute StarGuard student books, print or interactive digital textbook, and assign pre-course reading or completion of the online activities. A few days before the course, confirm the details and ensure you have the items contained in the equipment list. Review the instructor guide, paying attention to the block plan and time frame for the course you are teaching and the course type, initial, renewal, or challenge. Review the student textbook, key points, and best practices, including any supplemental content to be added. Blended learning course delivery. Blended learning combines the convenience of online learning with in-person, also known as face-to-face or instructor-led, training, practice, and assessment by an authorized instructor. The online portion uses the interactive digital textbook, IDT. Students access the IDT through the SGE Lifeguard portal. If you are teaching using the blended format, students complete all of the modules in the interactive digital textbook to prepare for the in-person portion of the class. Important, completion of the online portion alone does not result in certification. The online portion is useful for knowledge acquisition, but it does not provide any benefit in performance and assessment of skills. Online training alone does not meet the lifeguard, first aid, and CPR requirements of any authority having jurisdiction, AHJ, over lifeguard certification programs. The in-person classroom/water portion of a blended course focuses on the development of skills through hands-on practice and competency assessment. The classroom/water portion of a blended course is not intended to be a simple skill check-off, but rather a time to integrate knowledge. Block plans. The StarGuard block plan has been carefully crafted to provide an effective description of how to conduct a course. The effectiveness of the block plan has been tested with thousands of StarGuard students. Consider the block plan your toolbox and the activities your tools. However, the block plan not a mandate to be followed the same way each time. Your students may be experienced, inexperienced, or a mix. Training logistics may be influenced by weather, pool time availability, or other factors, and you should be prepared to assess your needs and adapt your sessions accordingly. You may need to shift the order of the blocks or the sequence of activities within a block. Breaks. Specific times for breaks are not identified in the block plan. Based on the logistics of your class situation, you will need to determine when it is appropriate to give students a short break. The design of the pace and flow of most of the blocks creates natural break times when moving between activities or between the classroom and pool. Certification and lifeguard license. Certification means verification that on the indicated course completion date the student demonstrated achievement of the required knowledge and competency objectives to the satisfaction of a qualified and currently authorized StarGuard instructor or instructor trainer. Certification does not guarantee future performance or imply licensure or credentialing. Certification is documented by the legitimate issuance of a correctly completed competency and performance (CAP) assessment record and submission of a correctly completed course roster. A StarGuard certification card or certificate, digital or electronic, produced by SGE may additionally be issued to the student. A training center that is the employer of students trained has sole discretion to establish employment policies regarding the release of certification credentials to the employee. Additionally, a training center that employs students trained is prohibited from releasing the CAP or any certification document to any employee who has been terminated for cause relating to performance as a lifeguard. The intent of this restriction is to reduce the chance that the individual will continue to work as a lifeguard through another employer. Lifeguards who work at facilities that utilize the SGE Risk Prevention Program and are entered into the Lifeguard Portal are also issued an SGE Lifeguard license in addition to the StarGuard certification. The license is valid only at that facility and when best practices are being maintained. Certification requirements: instructors must be currently authorized and in good standing as a StarGuard instructor to issue StarGuard certification. The certification requirement is for students to demonstrate reasonable competency in the core skill sets identified in the training standards for the course and demonstrate knowledge by passing a written exam with 80%. Competency and performance, CAP, assessment. The foundation of StarGuard certification is the assessment, tracking, and verification of competency and performance at the end of the course, known as CAP. The required performance evaluations for the course being taught are listed in the course standards. Competent performance of the listed skill sets without assistance is required for certification. When conducting performance assessment, students do not have to perform perfectly, just reasonably competent to achieve the desired outcome. Evaluate consistently between students. Assessment may occur concurrently during skills practice when time permits, or as a separate evaluation session. During assessment, watch each student as he or she is practicing/performing the skill set. If the performance is reasonable, consider the evaluation successful. If the performance is not reasonable, remediate and reassess. Course types. There are 3 different course types through which a student may obtain StarGuard certification: initial training, renewal, and crossover. Suggested block plans for all course types are included in the instructor guides in Section 5. Initial for individuals who have never been StarGuard certified or whose certification has expired for more than 45 days. The initial training may be conducted entirely face-to-face or in a blended learning format. Renewal for individuals who are currently StarGuard certified or expired less than 45 days to refresh and verify knowledge and skill competency and maintain certification. Minimum required activities of the renewal course include prerequisite screening, hands-on practice and review, competency assessment, and the written exam. Renewal may be conducted entirely face-to-face or in a blended learning format. Crossover for experienced individuals who are currently lifeguard certified in a recognized program other than StarGuard. Examples in the U.S. would include American Red Cross, YMCA, Ellis and Associates or NASCO. The focus during training is on competency assessment, methods, and approaches that are specific to StarGuard, and facility-specific response methods. The goal is to orient the lifeguard preservice so that he or she can respond in a coordinated manner with other StarGuard certified lifeguards and within the facility EAP. This option is only available for training centers that are the employer of students trained. Curriculum design. The demographics of the typical StarGuard student demand a training course delivery that is concise, fast-paced, and challenging enough to get results and develop high-quality skills and competence. The curriculum has been carefully designed to meet these goals. The StarGuard curriculum is based on experiential learning concepts and an integrated, context-based approach. Students learn by doing, in situations and environments as similar as possible to those where they will work. Active learning, rather than passive learning by watching videos or listening to lectures, is a hallmark of the StarGuard program. The focus of a StarGuard course is on gaining practical skills and an understanding of best practices to build confidence to handle an emergency situation. Skill sets are best learned and retained by repeat practice in realistic circumstances. Instructors can make the most of class time by limiting lectures to essential knowledge and focusing on hands-on skill practice. Classroom and pool health and safety. Constant and dedicated surveillance must be provided during all water training sessions by a person without other duties. Pool and water park venues should be maintained according to local regulatory requirements regarding water disinfection, sanitation, chemical readings, and temperature. Do not conduct water training sessions if the pool water is cloudy or chemicals are out of normal range. Waterfront venues should be free of controllable hazards and follow local regulatory requirements for testing of bacterial content. When teaching in natural bodies of water where there is no control over water and air temperature, monitor students carefully and modify class activities to prevent temperature-related illness from exposure to heat or cold. Know the Emergency Action Plan, EAP, for the facility as well as evacuation routes from the classroom. If the facility EAP is unknown, create one for the training session. Know the location of the first aid kit and AED or bring your own. Be aware of and share with students the location of the nearest bathrooms, exit, phone, and other relevant safety information. Warn students to avoid awkward or extreme postures of the body and use safe lifting methods. Warn students to walk with a purpose, not run, during training scenarios. Encourage use of 3 points of contact when entering or exiting lifeguard stands. Limit entry into the water with a feet first position only. Students may not enter or remain in the water after a training session without permission or as directed by the instructor. Students should be reminded to apply sunscreen before any outdoor training sessions. Advise students to not attend class if they have an illness such as influenza or a fever. Never connect a live AED or an AED training device to a human being during training. Follow all manufacturers' recommendations for safety when using AED trainers. Verify that each AED trainer is not a live AED and the device is incapable of delivering a shock. Warn students about inappropriate student-on-student practice. Certain psychomotor skills are not appropriate for student-on-student practice and must be performed on training mannequins designed for that purpose. Examples of these skills include performing actual abdominal thrusts, rescue breaths, intubation, and chest compressions. Follow mannequin decontamination practices. See section on minimizing the risk of disease transmission. During the course, start and end on time. Stay on track. Follow the block plan or a modified plan. Without compromising student learning, try to maintain the fast-paced interactive format. Facilitate student practice. Answer questions and offer constructive guidance and positive feedback as appropriate. Facilitate learning through hands-on activity followed by debriefing rather than being the sage on the stage lecturing students about how to do something. Observe, evaluate, and keep track of each student's ability to perform the minimum required skill competencies. Administer and grade the written exam. Manage record keeping related to award of the competency and assessment, CAP, performance record and certification. Distribute and collect students' printed Rate Your Program, RYP, form or provide the link to the digital RYP form. Emergency oxygen. Emergency oxygen is supplemental training content that can be taught concurrently and integrated into a StarGuard course or taught as a separate add-on module. See the instructor guide for training standards and block plan. Equipment and materials. Lists of required and recommended equipment and materials are provided in the course training standards, as well as in the block plan. Experiential activities materials for many of the suggested experiential activities such as Have You Ever, statements, first aid scenario cards, EAP builder cards and more, are available for download and printing from the Instructor Resource Center. Flexibility. The StarGuard program is designed to be flexible as long as the core content is covered, learning objectives are met, students successfully complete the required competency assessments, and course standards are followed. The program can be customized to meet the teaching styles of the instructor, the learning needs of the student, and the regulatory needs of an employer. In the United States, Canada, and most other industrialized countries, workplace safety regulations and site-specific requirements may call for specialized training content to be covered. You must be familiar with the regulations and requirements of the students you offer training to. You bear the responsibility of ensuring that each student meets the learning objectives for successful completion. To meet additional training requirements, the program materials include supplemental topics and content that can be included to varying degrees at the discretion of the instructor. Supplemental content is intended for reference, further reading, continuing education delivered through in-service, or adapting the class to the specific needs of an employer or student. Some of the additional optional topics include Elite Slide Dispatch Course, Emergency Oxygen Manual, Suction Devices, Hemostatic Dressings, Splinting Tourniquets, Metered Dose Inhaler, Nebulizer, Epinephrine, Auto-Injector Hours, and recommended course schedules. Courses are often populated by students with different levels of experience. This makes a single minute-by-minute approach to lesson planning. Unrealistic recommended course schedules presented in the block plans are intended to guide, not impose a rigid instructional plan. You should always attempt to connect participants' experience and knowledge to the current learning experience. You should spend as much time as it takes for students to meet the objectives of the course. Time management will likely be one of the most challenging aspects of conducting a StarGuard course. You must be a skilled facilitator to effectively involve your students in the content in a limited time frame. Add to this challenge the logistics of moving students and equipment from meeting room to pool and back again, and your role as the timekeeper becomes crucial. Your students should also share this responsibility. Make it clear that they must respect starting times and break times. In-house vs community/public training plus instructor evaluation criteria. The following criteria are used to evaluate and assess instructor proficiency during a StarGuard instructor development course, IDC, or quality assurance audit of lifeguard courses. Introduction and preparation. Clearly established reason and relevance. Prepared and ready. Created a good learning environment. Short and concise introduction. Use of experiential approach. Set up safe experiences for students to learn by doing. Effective facilitation versus being a sage on the stage. Gave clear instructions and parameters. Conducted effective debrief delivery. Spoke clearly and loud enough. Appropriate sequence, pace, and use of time. Considered safety and applied risk management. Professional in actions and dress knowledge/debriefing. Included key points from instructor guide. The right amount of content with need to know focus. Provided feedback with an objective-based approach. Responded appropriately to questions. Instructor guide. The instructor guide provides an organized plan for conducting a specific StarGuard course type or delivery format. See Part 5 of the Instructor Manual. Instructor levels. There are 5 levels of StarGuard instructor authorization. 1 star, an instructor with no prior teaching experience. Authorized to co-DAC StarGuard courses with a 2-star or higher instructor. After co-DACing experience, the instructor may apply for 2-star status through the training center director. 2-star, an instructor authorized to teach StarGuard courses with or without co-instructors. 3-star, an instructor trainer level authorized to teach both StarGuard and StarGuard instructor, IDC, courses through the primary training center. Entry into the 3-star track is through application and additional training is required. The levels below are 3-star instructors who are selected to conduct StarGuard IDC courses outside of their primary training center as assigned by SGE. 4-star, SGE faculty as an instructor trainer and/or external auditor. 5-star, SGE client partners and program leaders. Instructor Manual. The StarGuard Instructor Manual provides information relevant to be an effective facilitator/instructor, program guidelines, program standards, and instructor guides. Instructor slates, a set of waterproof slates, sold separately, are available as an optional tool for use during StarGuard water training sessions. The slates provide a handy summary of the StarGuard block plan, the required competency assessment and performance, CAP, scenarios that students must pass to earn certification, and a right-on tracking chart. Learning environment. The ideal classroom or water learning environment is comfortable, efficient, and distraction-free with sufficient space, seating resources, and equipment. Take reasonable efforts to ensure a physically safe and appropriate environment. The classroom room or deck area should be well lit, well ventilated in a comfortable temperature. Lifeguard certification numbers and training records. To verify and complete the certification process, the competency and performance CAP assessment must be documented on the SGE Lifeguard portal through the course management module. This module will create a course training record for each course conducted by the training center. Upon successful completion of a course, a unique certification/CAP number will be assigned to each student. All digital certifications and training records are managed and on file within the Lifeguard portal. Certification records are available in PDF format on the Lifeguard portal. Lifeguard Portal. The SGE Lifeguard Portal is a proprietary, cloud-based data management system to help you easily track courses, certifications/licenses, in-service training, rescues, and other operational tasks. It is also a place to download instructor resources such as forms, exams, and helpful information. Contact SGE if you have questions about getting set up or need technical support at any time. Limited Water Attractions Lifeguard. The StarGuard Limited Water Attractions Lifeguard course and certification is for individuals who will work exclusively at venues or attractions with water depth less than 24.6 m. The course objectives and content match those of the StarGuard course except swimming rescues are eliminated. Mannequins and CPR feedback devices. Adult, infant, and child mannequins are required for CPR skill practice sessions during a StarGuard course, according to the student mannequin ratio identified in the program standards. A mannequin used must have an airway that can be opened, lungs that can be inflated, and a simulated chest that can be compressed to various depths. Adult mannequins that provide audible and/or visual feedback related to rate and depth are required according to the American Heart Association guidelines provided in a 2019 update. Mannequins that do not provide this feedback are still acceptable. However, lifeguards must also train on a 2019 AHA-compliant mannequin. Minimizing the risk of disease transmission, there have been no documented cases where the use of CPR training mannequins has been responsible for the transmission of bacterial, fungal, or viral diseases. To continue to protect the health and safety of students and instructors and prevent the spread of infectious disease, StarGuard instructors should follow all recommendations regarding decontamination and sanitary practice supplied by the manufacturer of the mannequins used during training. Provide participants with sanitary personal protective equipment, including but not limited to face shields or masks and gloves. Advise students not to participate in a StarGuard course if their hands, mouth, or lips have uncovered open wounds or sores, or if they may have been exposed to or are in the active stage of an infectious disease. Clean their hands often with soap and water and encourage their students to do the same. Improved compliance with hand hygiene has been shown to terminate outbreaks of infectious illness and reduce transmission of antimicrobial resistant organisms. In addition to traditional hand washing with soap and water, SGE recommends that alcohol-based hand rubs be made available in all SGE programs and be used by all instructors and students during training. Keeping hands clean is one of the most important steps instructors and students can take to avoid getting sick and spreading germs to others. For more information, visit the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention hand washing website. Take any and all other reasonable precautions to minimize the risk of disease transmission. Model Aquatic Health Code, MAHC. The StarGuard program meets and exceeds the guidelines of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Model Aquatic Health Code, MAHC. Section 6.2 related to lifeguard training and course delivery. Pre-course requirements and skills screening. Skills screening must be successfully completed before a student may participate in the water training sessions of a StarGuard course. The screening activities confirm that a student has water skills at a level appropriate for the required in-water coursework. Certification-specific prerequisites and minimum skills screening requirements are provided in the course standards section of each instructor guide. The skills screening requirements are designed to be practical and relevant for a wide variety of aquatic workplace settings where StarGuard training may occur, including those with limited or no deep water and limited swimming areas. You can require additional screening for your class based on your site-specific needs or employment criteria. You must be familiar with any additional prerequisite or skill requirements that may be in place through the authority having jurisdiction, AHJ, in your location. See the water skills screening topic below for details about how to conduct it. Rate your program, RYP, post-course survey. Encouraging course participants to provide feedback and then using that feedback to improve instruction is an essential aspect of any quality educational effort. SGE requires that students be given the opportunity to evaluate their course using the Rate Your Program course evaluation form. Course participants will be provided the Rate Your Program feedback form from SGE via an online survey sent after completion of a course. All information obtained by SGE through this process is reviewed and shared with the training center, instructor, or instructor trainer as appropriate. Safety Training and Aquatic Response, STAR. This course is for non-lifeguard personnel in aquatic settings who need to understand how to reduce risk and who may need to assist or respond during an emergency. Course content is customized and tailored to the needs of specific audience such as cruise excursion personnel, pool attendants, water sports vendors and others and may include certification in basic life support and basic first aid. StarGuard and SGE. The StarGuard training program includes prevention, surveillance, response, and rescue, and workplace environment content in addition to American Safety and Health Institute, ASHI, basic life support, basic first aid, and bloodborne pathogens training. The goal of the training is to help students develop the knowledge, skills, and confidence to be an effective and responsible lifeguard. Upon meeting the objectives, students will receive certification for the following courses: StarGuard Lifeguard, Pool, Waterpark, Waterfront, or Limited Water Attractions, Health and Safety Institute, ASHI, Basic Life Support SHE Basic First Aid SHE Bloodborne Pathogens Emergency Oxygen, IFTA. StarGuard Elite, SGE, is the company that delivers the StarGuard curriculum, manages certifications and licenses, and provides a suite of SGE services to aquatic facilities that use the StarGuard program. In 2018, SGE was spun off from the Starfish Aquatics Institute as a separate organization. StarGuard Student Textbook. Beginning in 2020, there will be two options for providing StarGuard candidates with course materials. 1. The StarGuard Interactive Digital Textbook will be available to all lifeguard candidates who are in the SGE Lifeguard portal. Features will include short multimedia lessons, interactive learning activities, engaging visual resources and assessments. The modules cover every topic in the StarGuard curriculum and incorporate research-based instructional strategies providing StarGuard candidates with the most effective means to learn and prepare for in-water training. 2. The StarGuard Best Practices for Lifeguards 6th edition print textbook will remain available for those who prefer this resource. Quantities may be limited. Each student should have a current print textbook or interactive digital textbook readily available before, during, and after the course. Student medical emergency or injury. If a student has a medical emergency or is injured during the course, instructors should provide the appropriate care and activate the EAP appropriate for the setting. Any incidents during a course should be reported as soon as feasible to the training center director and then to SGE through the usual incident reporting system. SGE Training Center Administrative Manual, SGE TCAM. The SGE TCAM is a collection of standards and guidelines that establish the criteria for quality assurance and performance improvement of SGE training centers and authorized instructors and instructor trainers affiliated with those training centers. StarGuard instructors should be familiar with the content in the most recent version of the TCAM. Training Center Affiliation. An SGE Training Center is a self-governing entity that provides aquatic safety instruction using SGE programs. An instructor or instructor trainer's authorization is only valid when that individual is affiliated with a training center. An instructor or instructor trainer may be shared between training centers but must indicate one as a primary affiliation. See the SGE TCAM for details. Training Center Director and Program Director. A StarGuard instructor is authorized to teach under the oversight of the Training Center Director and StarGuard Program Director of the affiliated training center. See the SGE TCAM for details. Training center types. Training centers exist in a wide variety of sizes and business structures. A training center may be an organization, educational institution, governmental agency, individual, or other business entity. Teaching SHE courses. StarGuard instructors can become co-authorized as basic instructors with the American Safety and Health Institute, ASHI, one of the internationally recognized health and safety institutes, SHE, family of brands. This authorization allows you to teach ASHI courses such as CPR, basic first aid, and others in the ASHI portfolio to students separate from StarGuard. When an SGE training center registers to offer ASHI courses, the Health and Safety Institute TCAM standards and guidelines apply. ASHI training and certification materials must be used, and students entered into the ASHI OTIS data management system. You will be provided with instructions on how to order ASHI materials such as instructor packages, student books, and certification packages when you register to offer ASHI courses. Contact your client partner for details on becoming an ASHI training center. Third-party training content, additional training materials that are not produced by SGE may also be used to enhance StarGuard courses at the discretion of the training center director. These additional materials may not be used in lieu of StarGuard materials and may not be used to shorten or otherwise alter the core training content. Variances. A variance is a request to modify a course training standard. A variance request will be evaluated based on the ability of a training center to meet the intent of a training standard but in a different way. A variance request form is available in the Instructor Resource Center and must be submitted by the StarGuard Program Director with permission of the training center director. The following standing variances, without need for request, are granted to training centers when conducting a training, in-house, for employees, increase distances or add skills to the prerequisite requirement except students age 15 in a course at the discretion of the training center director. Waterfront definition. A waterfront is defined as a swimming area enclosed and identified by buoy lines or docks in an unsurfed natural body of water. The StarGuard pool, waterpark, and waterfront course alone is not appropriate nor intended for open water or surf beach lifeguarding unless supplemented with a site-specific training program based on international standards or best practices for open water or surf lifesaving. Waterpark and waterfront modules. The StarGuard pool, waterpark, and waterfront course prepares lifeguards with basic skills that can be adapted to a pool, waterpark or waterfront environment. It is an employer's responsibility to provide site-specific preserve ice training in the environment where the lifeguard will work. The StarGuard waterpark and waterfront modules can be used as a bridge to provide this preserve ice training. This option is especially useful in cases where the initial StarGuard training was conducted in a pool setting prior to a waterpark or waterfront being available. Water depth. The StarGuard CAP record indicates the depth of water in which the student demonstrated reasonable competency during CAP assessments. This designation is for information purposes only. The employer must verify competency at greater depths based on site-specific circumstances. For example, if the lifeguard demonstrated competency 9 feet, 3 meters, of water and the facility at which the lifeguard works has water 12.5 feet, 4 meters, deep, the employer should verify the competency of the lifeguard at that site-specific depth before being assigned to the zone. In some locations, an authority having jurisdiction, AHJ, such as a health department or other agency regulating swimming pool, waterpark, or waterfront operations may request a lifeguard to be designated either shallow water or deep water certified and limited to work in those depths. For these purposes, a lifeguard who has demonstrated competency in a depth greater than 5 feet, 1.5 m, may be identified as deep, and a lifeguard who has demonstrated competency in a depth less than 5 feet, 1.5 m, depth as shallow. If these designations are used, it does not replace the need for an employer to verify competency in a depth where the lifeguard is assigned. Water skills screening. Objective. Confirm that a student has water skills at a level appropriate for the required in-water coursework. Experience swimming with a rescue tube and performing feet first surface dive. Duration, 30 minutes. Materials, rescue tubes, dive brick, or submersible mannequin. Description of activity. The activity can be conducted as a group or split into stations depending on class size, space, and time available. Skills to evaluate for the pool, waterpark, waterfront course. Swim 50 yards/meters, head up to site for a distressed or drowning patron. Without stopping, swim 50 yards/meters, head up to site for a distressed or drowning patron. With a rescue tube, tread water for 1 minute without use of the hands. Retrieve weighted object off the bottom. Minimum 10 lbs/4.5 kilograms. Tips and directions. Describe the reason for learning. Prerequisite training standard. Demonstrate if you have students in your class who are new and have never used a rescue tube before. Identify the parameters of rescue tube use. Wear the strap diagonally across the chest. Gather the strap. Keep the tube across the chest or lower abdomen. If you have students in your class who are new and have never performed a feet first surface dive to retrieve an object off the bottom, demonstrate the skill and point out these performance tips. Keep your body straight and tight, with legs together. With your palms at your sides, turn them up toward the surface. Push the water toward the surface by quickly lifting your arms toward the surface. Your body will go down as your arms go up. To take another pull, slide your arms down the front of your body to avoid resistance, and back in position with your palms at your sides. Repeat the push toward the surface as needed to submerge to the desired depth. Direct the screening. Identify the safety rules for the course before beginning any in-water activity. Use a feet first entry, always. Don't enter the water unless surveillance is in place and given permission. Remove dangling jewelry, large watches, and exposed body piercing that could get caught in hair, equipment, or clothing. Keep the rescue tube between you and another person when doing drills and know the let go, 2 taps, sign. Apply sunscreen with a minimum SPF value of 30 when outdoors. No prolonged or repeated breath holding. Use care when lifting, climbing, and carrying equipment, especially on a wet deck. Provide instruction about how the screening will progress. Direct students to experiment with the best combination of arm pulls and leg kicks to move quickly. Organize students into groups or locations based on available space, equipment, or other logistics. Observe and document that each student completes the requirements. Debrief. Ask how students were able to adapt to swimming with the rescue tube in the most effective way possible. Written exam. The StarGuard exams are valid, appropriately matched to content, and consistent with established item writing standards. 2 written exam versions, an answer sheet, and answer keys are provided in the document repository on the SGE Lifeguard portal. The StarGuard Interactive Digital Textbook is a tool to help students prepare for the lifeguard training course. The check your knowledge sections in this resource are not a substitute for the written exam. Passing the written exam with a score of 80% or greater is required for StarGuard certification. If a student does not pass the first written exam, he or she must take the alternative version. If a student does not pass the alternate version, the course must be repeated. If you suspect that the exam was failed due to reading difficulty or other circumstance rather than lack of comprehension, the exam may be read aloud to the student without providing the correct answers. The StarGuard core exam consists of 80 questions. The first 50 questions cover the core content and the additional 30 questions cover waterpark, waterfront, and emergency oxygen content. The emergency oxygen questions may be excluded if not taught. For in-house students, the waterpark and/or waterfront questions may be excluded if not relevant to the venue where the student will work. Take precautions to prevent cheating and allow adequate time to complete the exam. In some international jurisdictions, skill assessment and administration of the written exam must be conducted by an authorized individual who has not conducted the training of the student. Separate standards and procedures are established for these situations and the above criteria and process does not apply. Scoring the written exam, use the answer key to identify incorrect answers. Return the scored exam to the student for review. Document the successful completion of the written exam on the course roster. Wrapping up a course. After a course, you will have administrative paperwork to submit to your training center director or enter online. Follow the instructions for the most current workflow provided by SGE and/or your training center.